Good morning, everybody. It's so good to be with you again. Some mornings my eyes really take a while to get focused and with us, but so chuffed with the series. Just on a personal note, quickly, I'm finding the one on rest quite challenging, and I think the main reason for me is just because it's something that I've never ever been super disciplined in. I think I've had habits of just doing stuff, but never ever disciplined. Especially more often, I'm challenged with I've got Friday coming up, and I'm thinking, what am I going to do on Friday, and how am I going to rest intentionally, and how am I going to get off whatever I need to get off to do. And I think it's helpful. I speak to Claire and say, hey, we're going to do this for the first 3 hours of my off day. So praying for you and pray for myself, pray for me. I really would like us to, these 8 habits aren't meant to be chores. It's not meant to be just as more graft or work, but it's actually meant to just add life to us. And so I think these things are issues of trust. I think they are issues of heart. I think they are issues of personal just growth and trusting Jesus and finding our joy in Jesus, and also finding our joy in Him, but also finding the joy in the gifts that He's given us. Like I said, we said the other day, the people around us, the provision of by His hand, and So this morning I think we're on day 9. I lose track of days sometimes, but day 9 we're looking at the habit of rest and refreshing, and we're looking at being wholehearted. We don't just need rest, we need wholeheartedness. Daryl Dash says to us, how are you doing with Habit2? Well, I've just given you my little update. I'm hoping that you've got 1 or 2 friends that you can, on this journey, share how you're doing with. I think it's really helpful to do that. So try not to do this just on your own. If you have a life groups, share with 1 or 2 of your life group members, but let's talk to each other. If you're doing well, congratulations. Keep experimenting with what recharges and renews you. Whether you're resting for 10 or 15 minutes a day, keep building your capacity to rest. I love that, capacity to rest. We're so used to a culture that speaks of a capacity to perform or to produce. Let's create a capacity to rest. If you're struggling, be patient. Rest is like a muscle that we need to develop. Ironically, resting is hard work. I've just shared my story with you. Keep experimenting. When you face resistance, gently notice what is behind that resistance rather than judge and not notice it. Just notice it and go, okay, that's what I was struggling with, get on with it. Don't sit and loathe and get into a cycle of judgment of why you're battling and over analyze it. We're all different. Find what works for you and take small action steps to build your resting capacity. The antidote to exhaustion. David White, a poet, asked his friend David Steedle-Rust about exhaustion. And this is what he had to say. You know that the antidote to exhaustion is not necessarily rest, responded Steedle-Rust. White froze in his tracks. The antidote to exhaustion is not necessarily rest? What is it then? His friend responded, the antidote to exhaustion is whole-heartedness. In his book Whole-heartedness, Chuck de Groot explains how this exchange happens or affected him. My own hypocrisy was exposed. I was living a divided life. I wasn't wholehearted. And that prevented me from finding any real and deep rest. It's amazing. We spoke about Blessed be the pure of heart last Sunday, or 2 Sundays ago. And part of being pure of heart is an undivided heart, being wholehearted, a wholehearted follower of Christ, where everything is, and what he's saying here is part of finding real deep rest is being wholehearted, having a heart that's undivided. True rest was something I didn't know how to do. I could stop my usual activities. I could watch a football game on a Sunday afternoon. I could even take a nap. But these things could not and would not stop the frenzied inner activity that continued incessantly in me. In my divided soul, true rest didn't have a fighting chance. Wow, I'm just going to read that last paragraph again because I think it's quite profound. True rest was something that I did not know how to do. I could stop my usual activities. I could watch a football game on a Sunday afternoons. I could even take a nap, but these things could not and would not stop. And this is I think the goal this morning. The frenzied inner activity that continued incessantly. In my divided soul, true rest didn't have a fighting chance. And I think every one of these chapters are great, and every now and then you get gold in them where it speaks of some big truths to us. In a divided heart, in a heart that's not wholeheartedly all in with Christ or in life. I think it applies to relationships, marriages, work, everything you do. The phrase that scared me when I read this morning was that true rest didn't stand a fighting chance against a divided heart or a heart that's not wholeheartedly in. When we feel scattered, anxious, and busy, we don't just need physical rest, we need wholeheartedness. So how do we become wholehearted? There's no shortcut to becoming wholehearted, but there are some steps we can take. As you rest, and here's the practical side of things, as you rest, pay attention to areas of your life where you aren't experiencing rest. That's very, very good. What areas of your life seem out of sync with your deepest self? What parts of your life feel shut off from God? Paying attention to these areas, maybe those are great questions to ask this morning when you're just on your own in your journal. Maybe what areas in your life seem out of sync with who you truly are? And secondly, what part of your life seems shut off from God? It could be because you're not taking it to God, because you may feel that God is not involved in that area in your life. Maybe just journal those thoughts and maybe pray about those. Paying attention to these areas is an important first step. Look for the ways that you may be living with a divided heart and begin to bring all these areas before God. Ask Him to bring these areas into alignment with the rest of your life, and thank God that He knows everything about you. Wholeheartedness is a lifelong journey. It is the path to finding rest in the deepest part of your soul. That's quite beautiful. What to do today. So there's 3 things for us to practice today in our training on our creating habits. Continue to look for ways to practice your rest habit. In other words, take a few minutes today just to think, hey, this is what I'm going to do to rest later on today. Put a date on your calendar for your next Sabbath. So get excited, plan your next Sabbath. I'm busy doing that as we speak. And pray that the area of your life where you don't feel wholehearted, ask a friend to pray with you. Ask God to bring greater wholeness into your life. So that's us for today around wholeheartedness. Let's ask those 2 big questions. What's out of sync with who I really am? And what area in your life do you feel God's not part of, or that you feel that you need to take to God today? Have an amazing day. Again, just well done for creating space and investing in your spiritual life and your well-being. Honestly, I have so much faith to see what God is going to do in your life and my life when we discipline our hearts and we discipline ourselves to feed off Christ and find more and more joy in Him together. Cheers, everybody. Have a great day.